Aha! Welcome to a Papetti Math YouTube video tutorial where I am going to be teaching you, yes, you, Algebra 1. We are in the 11th chapter where we talk about sequences, and we are specifically talking about arithmetic sequences right now. You probably just watched exercises numbers 1 and 2, so now, without further ado, we're going to look at exercise number 3. But first, let's recap. It says in exercise numbers 1 and 2, you were asked to find the 7th and 8th term. Suppose you were asked to find the 50th term. It might be tedious to add the same amount over and over and over. So remember, you were given 4 terms in each of those 2 exercises. If you had to add 3, for example, to the 5th term, then the 6th, then the 7th, then the 8th, then the 9th, then the 10th, then the 11th, all the way to the 50th term, that would be very, very tedious, as I said. The formula below is the arithmetic sequence formula. Ooh, there's a formula, which also we talked about in exercise number 2, that we were writing a lot of words and there had to be a shorter way of writing it. This formula right here is the shorter way. So it's representing where a sub n, this is a subscript, so we call this a sub n right here, is the nth term. Oh, so instead of writing the nth term, we can write a sub n. A sub 1 is the first term of the sequence, so right here. N is the term position, so whether it's the first term, second term, third term, the third term would be n equals 3, the fourth term would be n equals 4, the fifth term would be n equals 5, and so on. And D is the common difference, so instead of having to write out common difference, we could just write D equals. All right, so in exercise number 3 then, keeping that formula visible up there, it says for each of the arithmetic sequences below, develop a formula to find the nth term. Then find the 22nd term. So the first thing we want to do when we're dealing with arithmetic sequences is we want to list out the pieces of the formula that we're going to need. So we're going to need, right off the bat, a sub 1 and d. So let's find out what our a sub 1 is. What's the first term of the sequence? It's literally the first number that's written on the sequence. So a sub 1 in this case is 18. Now we're also going to need to know our common difference. Our common difference is how we get from one number to the next. So if we're looking at 18, and then to 8, then to negative 2, then to negative 12, every single time, you should see that you're subtracting 10. So now we know all of the pieces of the puzzle. So it says develop a formula to find the nth term. So when we're finding the nth term, everywhere you see an n is going to stay an n. So we're going to have a sub n is equal to, well, we know a sub 1 is 18, plus, well, there's another n, so it's going to stay n, minus 1 times the common difference, which in this case is negative 10. Now, we do know what n equals because it says then find the 22nd term. So everywhere in this formula where we see an n, we're going to replace it with a 22. So we're going to have a sub 22 is equal to 18 plus 22 minus 1 times negative 10. So we're going to simplify this a little bit. A sub 22 is going to be equal to 18 plus 21 times negative 10. And then we're going to simplify this whole thing right here. And we're going to finally get 21 times negative 10 is negative 210. Plus 18 should give us negative 192. So our 22nd term is negative 192. And if you kept on subtracting 10 over and over and over and over to this formula right here, to find the 22nd term, you would arrive at negative 192. This way might be a little bit quicker. So keeping that in mind, let's take a look at part B. And we know it's an arithmetic sequence because it says for each of the arithmetic sequences below, so we need to find our first term, just like we did over here. So our first term is the first term listed in our sequence, that's 7. And now our common difference is what we're adding or subtracting to the sequence over and over. So in this case, we're adding, it looks like 1.75 here. Let's see if it's the same throughout, just in case. Yes, that's 1.75, and that is 1.75 as well. So our common difference is 1.75. 0.75, or 1 3/4, if you will. So now, to find our nth term, we're going to use this formula up here. Everywhere we see an n is going to stay an n for now. And we're going to have a sub 1, which we know is 7 now, plus n minus 1 times our difference of 1.75. Okay, now we're finding the 22nd term. So now what we want to do is we want to substitute in 22 for n. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to write a sub 22 is equal to 7 plus 22 minus 1 times 1.75. And again, if we wanted to simplify this whole thing at once, we could do that. So we could arrive at our answer by putting in 22 minus 1 is 21. We're going to do 21 times 1.75 because of our order of operations. And then we're going to add 7 to that and get our answer of 43 and 75/100ths. 43.75 is our 22nd term. And again, if you wanted to add 1.75 onto this sequence over and over and over until you got to the 22nd term, I guarantee that you would arrive at 43.75. So this was actually our first part of setting up arithmetic sequences. And if this video was helpful to you, please click the thumbs up below the video to let me know that it was helpful. Thank you. And if you're ready for exercise number 4, you can go ahead and you can click the link and move on to exercise number 4.